Cosatu has reflected on the past 3 days of the Federation's first Central Executive Committee meeting. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi attended the briefing and joins us live. Good afternoon, Katlego. Take us through what came out of this meeting.
A very good afternoon to Nastasia and to our viewers at home. Well, Cosatu holding its first Central Executive Committee meeting for the year. What we know is that this particular committee meets every quarter to really take stock of where the organization is and looking at where the country is, especially on the fights for the workers. So Cosatu is a federation that has about 1.2 million of those members that are members of the labor force. They are workers, and really, they've not been faring well when you look at how then the cost of living and the challenges have affected the labor force, including even retrenchments in some of the sectors that have seen really the labor space dwindling a bit, looking at them losing their members. So we see the CEC, the Central Executive Committee, giving us an update today around that particular meeting, touching on what came out of the State of the Nation address, looking at what came out of the budget 2024 as well, looking also at the upcoming elections. As you can imagine that Cosatu is looking at intensifying its support for their alliance partner, this being the ANC. I'm going to bring into the conversation this afternoon with us Mr. Duncan Luvuno, who's the Deputy President of Cosatu, who'll just give us a sense of what came out of the Central Executive Committee meeting. We see this particular meeting and the reflection starting with an acknowledgement that 2023 was one year that was not really was hard actually for the workers, and also a reflection of where we are in the past 30 years looking at the democratic dispensation. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the SABC.
Afternoon, and thanks for having us. Yeah. Maybe to begin with, indeed, the Central Executive Committee that took place on the 26th until yesterday, the 28th, we did deliberate and reflected on the 30-year program that was unleashed by the African National Congress government. Indeed, we have noted some weaknesses indeed, but however, over the weaknesses, there are strengths or gains that we have amassed during that particular period. Among others, we are welcoming the increase of the minimum wage, as we have seen that the minimum wage has been increased to 27 rand an hour, which it goes a long way, most importantly, or most especially, to the people that are working as petrol attendants, to the people that are working as securities, for the people that are working as domestic workers. So we're not saying that it is a living wage. However, we're saying that it is a step on the door in achieving what you call the living wage, but now we're having a minimum wage. Again, another thing that maybe we must welcome is the continuation of the social distress relief grant that the government, with the intervention, the political intervention, they've agreed that indeed we are going to continue with it because we are still having healed economically from the deficiencies that we've encountered during the COVID-19. I think another thing that maybe we must celebrate looking at these 30 years, let's look at the national health insurance. You'll know that we've been championing or fighting for the equalization of access to healthcare, regardless of how big is your pocket. So we're welcoming it because it will benefit directly the working class and the poor. And those are the things that we must take forward and celebrate as well. I think another thing as well that maybe we must celebrate is the issue of the injections that we have seen. Yes, our power stations are aging. However, we must take comfort with the new direction that has been taken by the Minister of Electricity and implementation of the turnaround strategy, and also welcoming also that at the end of the day, we're now having a CEO whom someone won't be acting, will take decision for the long term of the SOEs, also the injection, so that the repairs can be effected to reverse the damage that has been done, because there were no repairs in the past or maintenance in the past. So we're saying that we're welcoming the gains that have happened. And as well, we're also seeing the weaknesses that the jobs has not been actually created at the rate that we would have wanted. But we're welcoming that, we're saying that even in Gauteng, maybe we're hoping that the way they are absorbing communities, young graduates, and so on and so forth, we're looking forward with these engagements with the government and relevant ministries, even provinces, premiers, that they must also embark on those things so that we can speed up, we can have bread on the table on each and every household, as they are doing in Gauteng. We're welcoming that. And again, yes, indeed, we've seen the collective bargaining being undermined. Hence, is another maybe handicap or gap that we have seen, which we are engaging not only government, because if the government is also showing signs of not respecting collective bargaining agreements, indeed, the private sector will also follow suit and undermine them. Hence, there are gains that we have reflected on. There are mistakes or handicaps or inadequacies that we have seen as well, of which we are thinking that it is only the government of the ANC that will be able to defend the gains collective with us as an alliance. Because if you can look at the other political parties, they are not happy with the progressive labor laws that we are having. They are even saying that if they come to power, they will even cut the public service. But if you can check from 1994 and up to now, the difference, we still need more public service that should be actually employed and close the gaps in hospitals, close the gaps in teachers, and so on and so forth. Because if you don't have that, you can check the ratio compared to 1994 and now. Actually, we are becoming slimmer and slim. And you can't have political parties that are saying that they're going to cut jobs in the public sector. So we're saying that the ANC, with its challenges, we think that we've gained a lot. The workers, we have more to fight for. We have more to defend as a working class under the government of the African National Congress.
Yeah. I mean, if I can come in there as well, Mr. Luvuno, one can come through to say that, as you say, that lives have been a little bit better under the ANC and under Cosatu. A worker can come through to say, but this particular salary that I'm getting cannot even get me to the end of the month. So really, the cost of living has been too high. Inflation, the economy has not done well over time, and the workers are the ones that are in the receiving end or have been in the receiving end of all of these stumbling blocks. How do you give them an assurance that going into the year 2024, going into these particular elections, their lives will change for the better, looking at how then things have not really fared well for them in the past 30 years?
Indeed, we're saying things have not been well, and the workers and the poor, we've been at the receiving end. However, we take comfort if you look at the 6 priorities that are being finding expression in the ANC manifesto. The issue of creating jobs, it is finding expression there. So it gives us comfort that indeed now, with this issue of saying that everyone must account to the government led by the alliance, will be able to reverse these inadequacies that we have seen in terms of jobs.
But you've been bleeding jobs. There have been retrenchments left, right, and center, and you guys are in the receiving end, because then if you don't have members unionized, then really it defeats the entire purpose. So if you're saying that we've seen people should govern and more or less gather under the policies of the ANC, and going forward should respect the work that Cosatu has been doing over time, why are we still seeing many sectors bleeding jobs?
Indeed, I think maybe we need to also be realistic in the fact that if you can look at our economy, not only here, you can look at the global balance of forces, we've not been growing globally. Globally, we've been having an economy that is not growing by its nature, not only because of where we come from in terms of the pandemic of COVID-19. However, we've not been growing as a country. And maybe as well, with the policies that we have been able to bring to the African National Congress, we're saying that we can be able to stimulate, but also the creation of job or solving as job. It is not only the government's job to do that. The private sector as well, it must come on board. Because the private sector, they are making profits. When things are good, they are making profits, well, it's fine. But now when things are not coming good, they want to retrench. The first thing that they go to is to retrench to save their profits. We can't work like that. We need to implement a social compact that we have given to the ANC, also to extend a hand to bring the private sector to play its role. Because the private sector has a role as well, not only to make money and maximize profit, but also to make jobs. Also, the SOEs must be utilized and saved so that we can be able, as a developmental country, as a developmental economy, we should be able the SOEs to play their developmental role to also stimulate and grow jobs like they did in the apartheid system. The SOEs were used to hire in numbers our people, or the people, the white people in the apartheid regime. So we need to reinstate that and reinvigorate those particular programs that were there. We can be able to grow and also salvage some of their job and appoint these graduates that they're having certificates sitting at home.
Yeah, before I let you go as well, there was an issue around members of SATU and their role, the role that they're going to be playing in the May 29th polls. Maybe give us a sense of clarity around that particular issue, because we've seen really a backlash on members of SATU and their role over the years that they would tend to play at these voting stations during the elections.
Maybe we need to correct that sentiment, because I think it's misleading to say SATU members are the only ones that are there. It is not only SATU members. We're having members from various political structures. We're having each and in the community you can go. It is not only SATU. It is not only SATU, and maybe it's misleading to say it's a SATU. These are members of SATU, which by in their nature, they are South African citizens. They have right to participate anywhere. It is in the Constitution. They have a right to apply if the IEC wants people to work there. Even people from NUM, they have a right to apply and participate and help there. Then we can't say it's members of SATU. We should be saying these are the citizens of the country whom is their right to apply and participate in these particular programs. And actually, we should be thanking them for availing themselves. Why these other people are not availing themselves? But it is untrue that it's only SATU that is there.
Mr. Luvuno, thank you very much, sir, for your time. He's coming through as the Deputy President of Cosatu, just giving us a sense and reflecting with us over what came out in the past 3 days of the CEC. They're looking at also their May Day conference or rally that will take place this year in Cape Town at the Athlone Stadium. And they're calling on all the workers and the members of the labor force to rally behind the May Day rallies that will also see them scattered across various of these provinces.